Hello, America, and welcome back to another episode of To Hear Me Tell It, the life and times of Jerry Daniels. When you've had your daily dose of today's craziness, dealing with all them Karens out there, ride shotgun with old JD as he goes back and recounts the life and times of growing up in the South during the 60s and 70s. I believe we were called baby boomers. Stories that you will say, yep, I done that, but I ain't gonna tell my kids. And I ain't never told my spouse. But whatever the truth be, it will be this, to hear me tell it. Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to another episode of To Hear Me Tell It. I gotta focus on the camera today. I'm not doing a very good job at that. So I'll try to get better. But there's a lot going on over here. I can see me over there, and I got my other screen over here, and I got some reference material. So it's tough because my little Logi camera thing is over yonder. And I gotta do better at that. So anyway, it is what it is. I really hate that. It is what it is. Okay. Hey man, it is Wednesday, and it is the 6th of August. Man, I know I say this all the time. I'm gonna keep saying it, and I'll probably say it more. Freaking time's flying. Flying, man. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's freaking flying. Hey, I got my Navy hat on, but also I'm proudly wearing my naval aviation, and if I can get the mic out of the way here. There. For the folks listening on podcasts, you can't see this, but I got my naval aviation, it's called NACAS, the Naval Air Crew Candidate School shirt on. And I proudly, when I was a second class petty officer, I volunteered to fly as an air crewman in the U.S. Navy, and the story was written after that. I went to combat Naval Air Crew Candidate School in Pensacola, Florida, and I don't know what it is now, but I can tell you back then, it was tough. You started with a class of like 60 people, and you was good if you had 40 to even graduate, maybe 30. So they, it's designed what it is. It weeds out the weak. So, all right, back on track. Again, it's the 6th of August in the year of our Lord, 2025. Welcome, everybody. Thank y'all for listening. I'm going to start with what I'm going to end with. I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel, share it with folks, make comments, and I'll give you feedback if you'll give me feedback. So how about that? And you can ask any questions. And if there's something you want me to talk about, make a comment about it. Say, hey, Jerry, do an episode on, whatever. So I want to do a shout out to a couple of folks. One being Christy Dunn Barrow, she always listens, and to Joe Stitka, he listens on a regular basis. And I saw Joe yesterday, and I'll tell you more about that later, what we were doing. But he did comment as we were partying. He goes, "You gonna do a podcast tomorrow?" I said, "Absolutely, Joe." He turned right, I am. I don't know if I said that, but that's what I was thinking. But yeah, I told him absolutely, I'll do one. So that being said, thanks to all those who do listen. Again, please subscribe and share and boost folks and share it with people. I would love it. My podcast made it to Fox News, because Fox News would do wise to hear some of the stuff that I say. Because some of the stuff I say is the same shit me and my wife say on the couch watching TV, and we watch The Five a lot. And when The Five comes on, if that nut whack job liberal, one of the most ignorant people on TV is that girl named Jessica something, and she's on there, we just turn it. I ain't watching it. Why? Because it's painful to watch dummies. It is. It's painful to watch dummies. Okay. Got my notes here. I'm going to go over a few things. I'm going to get to the last part last. Imagine that. Last part last. But my wife and I, oh, wait a minute. Nothing to say about the bees. The chickens, I'm stumped because I'm new at this. But like yesterday, I had 5 eggs. The day before that, I had 4. 5 counting one really, 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 really soft one. I picked up one of my hens because I was concerned about her. And she actually, this was late p.m., like at 6 p.m. And as soon as I picked her up and was holding her, I thought, oh my gosh, she's pissing on me. And she laid a super soft egg while I was holding her. It rolled right off my arm, hit the ground, and the chickens attacked it and ate it. Before I could even move, they were on it. So I know folks say, well, don't let your chicken eat eggs. Well, I couldn't even stop them. They were so fast. And then it was a real soft shell, so one of them grabbed it and was running around, and everybody was chasing everybody. But I'm concerned because two of them have these sores on their back. And I don't have a rooster, but they've got these little, like about the size of a quarter, scabs on one side and the other side. And it looks like where they can reach back and scratch or something. I don't know what's going on, man. I'm going to go to Tractor Supply and buy some antiseptic spray stuff, that blue shit, and try to treat it. I don't know what's going on, but the heat's down, and they're not as heat stressed. And anyway, so what I was saying, I got 5 eggs yesterday. I got 4 eggs the day before, 5 counting the salt one. The day before that, I got 7. The day before that, I got 5, and I do track it. I have a list. So, and I've got 8 laying hens that are in the major league, but so far I have never had a day of 8 eggs. I haven't had that yet. And my first 2 layers are always the same. They're consistent. Matter of fact, it's already well, the sun's just coming up, and I changed their timer on their light so they won't get up so early. But they'll be laying. I got 2 sapphire gems. They're the gray ones that's got the crazy eyes that Laura don't like. They'll lay, both those girls, they will lay within the first hour of sunrise. Boom, boom, and they're done. And the other ones are sporadic throughout the day. Anyway, if anybody knows, I guess a resource that I can go to find out what these sores are, lack of better words, they look pretty nasty, and they're on my chicken's back, and I can't figure out what it is. Anyway, because I'm new at all this. So, all right, to the stuff. My wife and I got invited by another couple, and we met with 2 other couples. One of the couples being invited us to a local winery up here in North Georgia to go, and I think our tickets were like $22 a piece to go see a comedian. And I thought, okay. And I really, my focus is I enjoy the company of the other 2 couples. They're great people. They're wonderful people. One of them is a retired U.S. Navy captain who was a P-3 pilot and a retired Delta airline pilot. And he's hilarious. He's got a really unique sense of humor. His wife is Jim, and she's done the whole thing because she understands the Navy and the Navy wives and all that kind of stuff. So, and she's Southern to the bell. And anyway, and their daughter and our daughter were roommates in college, and the other couple are older than us. And they have a very colorful background, and they are unique individuals. They are great people, and I love them. They're really nice people. So we get invited to go to this winery, and I called the winery like 5 hours before we were supposed to get there. I talked to the manager, who said he talked to the boss. And I said, hey, I looked at your winery on the website. It's a really nice looking place. I'm an aerial videographer. I just want to clear it with you before I do this. But we're going to show up a little bit earlier, and I'd like to launch my drone and maybe do some footage of your place because I'm a videographer, and I'll just put it on my website and my YouTube channel. And he goes, do you know the comedian? I said, no, I don't know the comedian. And then he said, so what do you want to do? And I said, well, I just want to do, videography. And I said, I just want to confirm also that what we're attending is inside and not outside, because the place didn't look very big. I thought there's no way they're going to do a show inside. They can't seat that many people. He said, no, it's going to be inside. But then he came back and said, no, my boss said he'd rather not be doing that. And I hung up. I said, okay. So I thought, well, I think he thought I want to fly the drone inside and film the guy. Why was he wanting to know am I associated? He even says, are you with the comedian, or do you know him? I go, no, I don't. It's not the comedian. I just want to do the venue. But anyway, so I just let it go. But we went to this show, and it's a crapshoot, and it was not about the wine. Wine was expensive. I'm not accustomed to paying. I'm not a wine connoisseur. A glass of red wine, that's it. It needs to be a Cabernet, and if not, then or Merlot. But that's it. That's it. I'm not a beer connoisseur. I'm not a cigar connoisseur. I'm not a wine connoisseur. I love water. I'm not a soda connoisseur. None of that crap. That IPDA, whatever that is, all those beers, different, blends and stuff, that ain't my forte. And of course, it was their wine. I'm like, really? You charge $40 for a bottle of wine? $40? That's a lot, man. So, yeah, we had a bottle of wine. But the comedian, God bless him, I don't even know his name. He probably said his name. And it's nothing against the couples who invited us because they didn't know. That guy, y'all, and it's an opinion. He sucked, man. It was bad. I felt sorry for him. And y'all have been to those shows. I know you've been to a comedian show where the comedian's not funny. And, he just rolled up there in a pair of shorts and a shirt and a ball cap and like he needed to shave. He's one of those dudes that wears black socks. Black socks with tennis shoes or black socks with sandals or any socks with sandals. The men who are listening to this, do not wear socks with sandals, flip-flops, whatever. Don't do it. I don't care if the young kids do it. And if young kids do it, stop it. You look like a moron. And also, if you wear tennis shoes, don't wear black socks with tennis shoes with shorts. Don't do it. Especially if you wear black socks with black tennis shoes. Don't do it. But he got up there and, man, he was terrible. I mean, he seriously, if this is how he's making money, he needs to find another job because he ain't going to do well. And people will say, well, golly, Jerry, you're just going to bash the guy. But he, according to him, he's been doing this a while. So it's not like he's brand new. But it was bad. It was bad. And I had never been to a comedy show where he had a little notebook and he kept referring to it and he would open his notebook like he was trying to read. And he actually asked us, have I already talked about blank blank? I'm like, seriously? You're asking us? He lost his place and he was going, what did I tell y'all about? And I'm like, no, you're not. You're not doing this. But he did. And then he had a tip jar, and he brought it out, and he made sure we pointed, and we knew where the tip jar was and stuff like that. And it was over. A few people walked up there, and they're probably woke, and they felt, I ain't put no damn money in that tip jar because he was bad. You don't tip people for bad stuff. So at least I don't. But there was something he asked about, and he asked it like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, man, why do you? And then he talked about this thing he was doing for people, and it was like a charity. And then I thought, he's playing the pity thing on us, and he's wanting us to feel sorry for him. And I just said, no, I ain't doing this. Anyway. So that being said, then my wife says, oh, so-and-so asked us to go to something that's like in 2 weeks or 3 weeks at the same damn winery. And I said, well, is it going to be anything like that damn comedian show? And then Laura jumped on me. Why are you so critical? So I'm not critical. I'm just real. Goddamn suck buttermilk, man. Anyway. All right. Scratch that off my list. There's no moral to the story because the same couples invited us to several outdoor concerts and they've hit home runs. They were absolutely fabulous. And I may have told you all about it, but we went to one outdoor concert and there's a band and it's called Skin something. Anyway, they do nothing but Leonard Skinner stuff. That's all they do. Skin Folks, I think is the name of them. Anyway, if you ever get a chance to watch this band, I think they're out of the north of Atlanta area. I think they're called Skin Folks. I don't know why that's ringing a bell. But anyway, it's a play on Leonard Skinner. But these guys are absolutely phenomenal. And if you ever get a chance to go see them, you can close your eyes and you would literally think you're listening to Leonard Skinner. So Sweet Home Alabama, all of it, all of it. And they did some 38 Special too, I think. So, but anyway, they were really, really, really good. And we know why they did 38 Special. All right. I don't have any stuff in front of me. And I'm not going to talk about this too long. But I'm going to tell y'all something right now. What's going on in the state of Texas is, I find it staggeringly astounding. I don't know if I say even proper English. Astounding. they're Democrats. Shocker there, isn't it? There are Democrat state politicians who are elected to serve the people. They're not leaders. They're servants. All politicians are servants. But these are state house representatives that were elected to serve the people. They get a paycheck. That's their job. And politics is ugly. Politics is what it is. Republicans, Democrats, whoever's the minority or the majority, whoever's the majority, takes advantages of whatever the loopholes in the system are, and everybody knows about gerrymandering and all this kind of stuff. But the governor in the state of Texas and his administration is smart enough to realize that they need to strike while the iron's hot, because the demographics has changed rapidly, and that they need to do a lot of redistricting to make sure that it's done for what's best for Texas, not the Republicans, for Texans, a state in the United States of America. And the Democrats know they're at a disadvantage, and they don't like it. They like it when they're in the advantage, and they take full opportunity to take advantage of the being in an advantage. But the Democrats, different than conservatives, they don't know how to deal with losing, and the classic, and they're juveniles. So the only thing they know to do is they can't vote and pass certain things if they don't have a quorum. So here's what we'll do. We'll run away. We'll just leave. So a buttload of Democrats, and they've done this before. I think one time they all got on an airplane and flew to D.C., but they all took off and they ran to blue states. A lot of them went to, I think, New York and Illinois. Shocker. And we're going to go here and hide out for a while. Well, who's paying for that? And they got a job. They need to bring their ass to work. Period. Who else could? Anybody in the police force, the military, any other government agency, the OSHA, MSHA, the EPA, the NIA, anybody. And then you get into private sector, and they go, I don't like the policy. So I'm just not going to come to work. I'm going to stay home, still draw a check. I'm going to sit here and pout until I get my way. That's what they've done. And it's really sad to watch them, because a common sense conservative person can spot it. They're little spoiled brats. They didn't get their way, and they've run off. They're holding their breath, kicking and screaming, and that's what they're going to do. I'm going to leave. I'm just going to leave. I can't get my way. We're going to lose. So I'm not going to be there to lose. I'll just leave. Well, y'all put your big boy and big girl panties on, and y'all need to bring your ass back and go to work. And even though it's painful for you, it's okay. It's what's best for Texas. It's not about you. It's what's best for Texas. So, and I don't know all the great details, but the House evidently took action, passed some things, and now they have arrest warrants and going to charge them. And they should be. They should be charged as a felon. I'm not a lawyer. I don't give a shit. They should be charged as a felon. Why? Because then they'll never own a gun. How about that? And they can't vote. Yeah. So they hauled ass and they run off. And you know what? I've told y'all before, I've lived in foreign countries, and they must be sitting watching BBC News, because that's what most of them watch overseas, but they watch BBC or CNN, and they must think Americans are idiots. And problem is, we got a lot of idiots in America, and most of them are Democrats. So, all right. So, that being said, I want to lead into another story. Is I've watched some of these, Democrats on TV screaming about, they're all up in arms about the deportation of illegal immigrants. Now, if you're an immigrant and you're in our country illegally, you are thereby a criminal. You don't have to trust me. Just read the law. So if you're an immigrant and you're in this country, whether you've overstayed your visa, you snuck in the back door, you lied on paperwork, you married your brother or something, you're here illegally. You're by nature a criminal. All criminal aliens need to be deported. And if you are a legal alien and you come here and you commit a crime, you should seriously be considered to be deported. If America's that bad, why do so many people try to come here? You know, you got like Ilmo Omar and all these other people. If America is that bad, why is everybody screaming and scratching to get in the door? Why? I'm just asking, why? If it's that bad, and according to that Omar woman, that's Somalia, if the greatest, what's that word she uses? It's essential, whatever. If the greatest threat in America is a straight white man, why is they're the ones creating the least amount of crime? I'm just asking. So anyway, so all these woke Democrats on TV, and they're screaming, and this just shows how ignorant and entitled they are, because they're deporting a lot, and Trump's administration is, and this is what the American mandated. This is what we voted for. They're deporting a significant, and they keep going. I mean, the train's left the station. Keep on it, man. But they've deported a lot of the illegal immigrants, going after the hard criminals first. That's right, but keep going. And now they got these Democrats on TV, and they literally, this is how stupid they are. They literally will say stuff like this. I'm just paraphrasing. Well, who's going to pick our vegetables? Who's going to clean our toilets and bathrooms, like Governor Newsom and all them guys? The elitists actually are asking those questions. I'm like, well, anybody can clean a toilet. Hell, you can clean your own. A lot of those folks that are saying that have servants and maids. Yeah. I don't. Me and my wife both. I clean my toilet. Sure do. Oh, and by the way, I actually brush my teeth within 3 feet of my toilet. Who was that? AOC was bitching about that. She couldn't believe those people in Alcatraz or whatever it is have to brush their teeth near their toilet. I'm like, you have obviously never served on board a damn naval ship in your life. You have no idea what you're talking about. And somebody on the staff, when a congressman or a senator is about to make some like really stupid statement, like Akeem Jeffries or Booker or anyway, they make stupid stuff because they're not very smart. That's their problem. They're not very smart, and then they hire really dumb people to be on their staff, so they'll think they're smart, like Kamala Harris. All her staff members were butt stupid. So she seems like she's the smart one because all of her staff is stupid. Well, a smart person would hire people smarter than them. And then they would hire somebody that would be like, I need you to keep me in check. So I'm thinking about getting in front of a camera tomorrow, and I'm going to make a comment. Here's some of my notes. I'd look at their notes and go, whoa. You're going to talk about people brushing their teeth 3 feet from their toilet? Yeah, I'd say, AOC, I got a news flash for you. I'm not sure how you were raised or where you come from, but you do realize that our entire military force, especially the Navy, they have to brush their teeth right next to the guy taking a shit, and you have to stand like in a row of like 10 people in the head and do all your stuff and see everybody else's stuff, and I don't think you want to say that. And most of the apartments and houses, guess what? They brush their teeth near the toilet. So she's an idiot. But anyway, they make that comment about immigrants being deported. Like, well, who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? And here's what they never say is you never hear these people say, well, who's going to fix my air conditioner? Who's going to repair my plumbing leak? Who's going to fix my roof if it's leaking? Who's going to be the next beekeeper? They don't ask stuff that's really important. Now I say this because y'all know I talked about a couple of weeks ago our AC went off or went on the blink. I could have fixed it, but I couldn't fix it because it was under warranty, so I had to let them do it, which really pisses me off. But I had a great conversation with the young man who came out 2 times to work on the air conditioner. First time was to do all the troubleshooting and confirm what I had told them, even to bring the damn motor, which they didn't bring. But then, and then the parts get ordered, then they were the wrong parts, and then it got delayed again. So what was supposed to be, what could have been fixed on Monday, turned into finally late Thursday afternoon getting repaired, and we were in that heat wave. So, but I was talking to the young man, and he was probably in his mid-20s. And I told him, I shared with him, I said, I used to be in this industry. I got a degree in heating and air, and used to had my own company at one time, and worked for another man, and learned a lot as an apprentice in an AC repair shop. Been to the big plants where they make Carrier and York and Rheem and all that stuff. And went through all these technical schools, electrical, electronics, refrigeration, air conditioning. Went to General Motors Training Center. I studied automobile air conditioning. And he said, there's a huge gap of technicians between your generation and mine. He said that. I said, I said, I remember my instructors, who I had an instructor named Dennis Mays, at the Tennessee Valley Technical Institute. I hope Mr. Dennis is still alive. That's a very smart man. He was a good instructor. He was a really good instructor. I like good instructors. He was a good instructor, an effective instructor. So this young man was telling me, he goes, I got a 4-year degree in biology. And he said, I make more money doing HVAC. And during the summer, he goes, I work 60 hours every week. So could you imagine the impact of having no taxes on overtime for him, which would be a plus, a big plus. And all the Democrats don't want you to believe that, but it'd be a big plus for him. But, he is a certified, licensed HVAC tech. I can't imagine when he gets paid by the hour. And he seemed extremely competent. He was he's learning about his troubleshooting skills, because he didn't do the faulty isolation and troubleshooting the way I'd have done it. I would have came to the conclusion in about 5 minutes, and it took him over an hour. But he's learning, and I told y'all I didn't step in there and go, let me tell you how to do this, son. I ain't one of those people. I just sat back and watched. But anyway, so the immigrants, the Democrats, we don't hear them on TV asking questions like, well, who's going to fix our air conditioner? Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, there's only a certain demographic. And I'm going to go down this list here, and I got a list here. And I'm not being racist. This is not racist. It's called observation and inferences. That's what this is called. Okay. So here are some trades that only seem to be attracting certain demographics: HVAC, electrical, plumbing, construction, heavy construction, iron workers, mining industry, farming, anything with agriculture, airline industry, as in airline mechanics and whatnot. I'm just talking about heavily population by a particular demographic. Oil and drilling. And you don't have to trust me. You don't have to. You can back me up. But just look at the demographics. It only seems to be a certain demographic that does this. It's hard work. It requires a lot of self-discipline, control, dedication. You got to have a sense of morality and integrity about yourself to do these jobs. So, yeah. Anyway, all right, enough about that. The last thing I'm going to talk about, and I'm already at 28 minutes, but and I can just, well, no, I'm going to talk about something else. There was a guy arrested in a parking lot, and let me bring it up here. But it says, man with rifle and knives in a car at a Palm Beach International Airport was taken into custody. A 41-year-old man is being interviewed by detectives at the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. A 41-year-old man identified as Michael Rodriguez. He was detained and interviewed by detectives after a fully loaded AR-15 rifle with multiple knives was found inside a rental car at the Palm Beach International Airport. The Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office said that. said at around 7:30 a.m., airport operations personnel notified deputies of a suspicious man outside a dark-colored vehicle parked within a restricted area. Well, how did he get in there if it was restricted? Upon arrival, the deputies said they found the man standing outside the car, getting dressed. Well, who stands outside the car and changes clothes? Michael Rodriguez does. So when the deputies opened the glove compartment to retrieve the rental agreement, they're like, oh, damn. They discovered, they don't use the word found, they discovered a fully loaded AR-15 magazine, which holds 31 rounds, depending upon who makes it. So they found a loaded AR-15 in the glove box. A subsequent search of the vehicle revealed a fully loaded AR-15 and multiple knives concealed under a blanket. And I guess it was in the back seat. Deputies in their efforts stopped a potential act of violence. Yeah. Yeah, they did. Says, we've since learned the man was taken into custody. Damn, I can't talk. So they took the guy into custody, started running background check and, all this kind of stuff. Get this. He's a convicted felon with an extensive criminal history. And he shouldn't have been, and it says, and he should not have been in possession of a firearm. The reason I'm talking about this, a lot of people goes, oh, that's where the airport that President Trump uses a lot. And there's a picture on the internet that shows, I'm looking at it here, it shows a picture of the rifle and the magazines laying on the hood of a car and a bunch of knives. Here's the point. He's a convicted felon. He ain't supposed to be in possession. Now, the ATF's already on it. You can bet your ass they've already run this serial number. They know exactly where this rifle came from. They start at the manufacturer, they go to a distributor, they go to a retailer, and then after that they go to an individual, and then they just keep following the serial number and see how many times this firearm has been transferred using a 4473. And they'll find out where it came from. And they may end up getting to a guy and go, well, you bought the gun from, Dick's Academy or something, Sports Academy or Dick's Sporting Goods or something. I don't know. I'm not saying they sold the gun to the guy. I don't want nobody to say, oh, he said. I'm not saying that. I'm just using them as an example of a retailer, big box retailer. And then some guy go, yeah, I had that gun, but, I sold that gun to some dude. Well, who? Well, I don't know who it was. I sold it to him. Okay. People who buy guns from people can do it legally as long as they don't break the law. Criminals don't follow laws. They either steal guns or they buy them in such a way that is legal, but the process of them buying it is illegal because they're a felon and they ain't supposed to own one. So, going back to the point, and so it's like, well, we should have more gun laws. No more gun laws would have prevented this. Well, they would have said, well, nobody should own an AR-15. Well, he's going to get one. Why? Because he's a criminal. So when you go, we're going to make the world safer, and we're going to make it so nobody owns what they call assault guns, and they can't even define the word assault. So if you're going to make it that way, the only people that are not going to have firearms are law-abiding citizens. They're the only ones that follow laws. Law-abiding citizens are the only people that follow laws. And if you make gun control so that people can't have firearms, the only people that won't have firearms are law-abiding citizens, and the criminals will still have firearms, which puts now the criminals to an advantage, and it puts the unarmed, lawful, law-abiding citizens at a disadvantage because now they can't arm themselves to defend themselves. So, and this is actually not even conceivable by Democrats. Liberals can't process this whole thought process. Anyway, all right. So I had that on here. All right. So I'm already at 33 minutes. I'm not going to talk about this long because I don't know that much about it. Until recently, y'all hold on to your shorts because I know this is going to be a shocker. Until recently, I didn't know who the hell Sydney Sweeney was. I know that can be a shocker to somebody. I had no idea who this old girl was. I'd never heard of her. And as we get older, we tend to lose touch with the younger stuff that's going on. So, I'm sure that when my mom and daddy were in their 60s and 70s, and I asked them if they knew, gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. Somebody up and coming that was young. I'm sure my daddy at one point said, well, who the hell's, no, he would have said Michael Jackson because he knew who that was. But anyway, nothing's coming to mind. I'm drawing a blank. Shows how prepared I am for my podcast. But I didn't know who Sydney Sweeney was. And I still don't really know who she is, and I don't care. But apparently, she is I guess she's an actor and a singer. I don't know. See, I don't know. Maybe an actor and a model. Who knows? I don't know. But she did an ad. This is my understanding. She does a TV ad, commercial for American Eagle jeans. Guess what? I don't live in a bubble, but I didn't know American Eagle was a brand. I didn't know that. I don't go to malls, so I didn't even know. And I did. I went and Googled, who is America Eagle? And it came up with American Eagle Outfitters. I didn't know that was a store in the mall. Why? Because I don't care, and I don't go there. So it's not on my radar. I don't care. But evidently, I know Wrangler. I know Levi. I know Carhart. I know Dickies. I think that's all I know. I don't know that many of them. So why do I care about anyway? But anyway, evidently this girl makes an ad and she said something about her jeans. And this is just how pitiful, I guess that's the word. This is how pitiful Democrats are. That's how pitiful. And what they're doing is they're doing what they always do, tit for tat. So the Democrats, I guess they especially the woke figured this is what we're going to use to launch and have the same success that the conservatives did with the little perverted gay boy that wears women's clothes. I don't even know his name, but he did that beer commercial was it Bud Light? Maybe, yeah, I guess it was Bud Light. See, I don't even care about that. Why? Because I don't drink Bud Light. But he did that ad, and it bombed. It bombed bad, and they still haven't recovered from it. They still have not recovered from that. And then all the woke people that supported them and the businesses, just like all those people that gave all that BLM money, you know what? They always get the shitty end of the stick. So this woman named Sydney Sweeney does this ad. I looked at the ad. I just thought it was a good-looking woman, sporting a pair of blue jeans. And now all the conservatives are coming out going, yeah, it's cool to have fine-looking women with and I'm not going to say what they say. Yeah, I'll say it because I watched Jimmy Fallon and all that kind of stuff. It's like it's now good-looking women with fine titties is cool. Where 2 years ago, if you was looking at a good-looking woman with fine hot tops, then you were a Nazi or a racist or whatever else, which it's absolutely stupid. All of this is stupid. The fact that I've even got a piece of paper in my hand and I'm talking about somebody I've never heard of because it's in the news. This is in the news. So Sydney Sweeney does this ad, and the liberal woke libtards have blown gaskets, and the only reason they're doing it's a show, is they're trying to hope, they're hoping they'll have success that what happened with that pervert, that little skinny pervert boy that wears women's clothes. And it's having the exact opposite. The stock in American Eagle, which I didn't know anything about, has gone up like somewhere between 15 and 20%. Everybody's loving it. And they can't figure it out. That's how stupid the liberals are. They can't figure it out. Well, go one step further. They found out that they, being the woke liberals, they found out she's registered as a Republican. So they thought that'd be something we could make an issue out of. Well, that's having the exact opposite effect. So that backfired and bit him in the ass. And now President Trump, which he shouldn't even go there, But he was getting on the Air Force One helicopter, and somebody said, "Hey, did you know that American Sweeney? Did you know that Sydney Sweeney's registered as Republican?" He goes, "She is." If I was the president, I would have said, "I don't know her. I don't know anything about her, but maybe you can talk to my staff." I don't know. But Trump being Trump, and he's always 2 steps ahead of everybody. He knows how to work the crowd. He's like, "Well, I love her now, and I love American Eagle jeans." And the liberals' minds went, boom. They freaking exploded. They exploded. And how in the world, because Laura and I talked about this last night, how in the world does somebody watch this and go, "She's a Nazi"? Idiots. Well, not only did they thought it was appropriate to tell America that she's a registered Republican, I don't know how she voted. My mom and daddy were registered Democrats for years. They didn't vote Democrat. But now they got video of her. Get this. Y'all hold on to your shorts. I know this is a shocker here. She shoots guns. Oh, my God. She goes to the gun range. Oh, my God, she must be one of them. Next thing, they'll be calling her a teabagger or something else. Or maybe she's got a membership card to the Proud Boys. Who knows? But anyway, that's having the exact opposite effect. So here's my advice. I ain't going to give no advice to Democrats because they don't take advice. You know what they say? Be careful about giving advice. Wise people don't need it and fools won't heed it. Well, there's the Democrats. They're not wise and they're fools. So it doesn't matter. But here's what I would do. If I had the ear, if I was in a boardroom with companies like Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Henry Rifles, Glock, Sig Sauer, ZZ, Daniel Defense, especially Daniel Defense, I'd get her ass and I would sign a contract with her as fast as I could to market your firearms. You smart, you do that. That's what I'd do. I'd have ads of her shooting my pistols and rifles as fast as I could. So take advantage of it while you can. All right, that's all I got, folks. Thanks again to everybody who, I say everybody, I'm down to less than 20 people a week. So I guess I say I need y'all's help. Throw this in the trash. I need y'all's help to put this out there and let folks watch it. Share it with Fox News. Hey, Marjorie, I'm going to put a shout out. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Girl, you go. You keep doing what you're doing. I'm behind you 98%. Somebody may say, well, why that? Because I'm cautious. I'm behind you 98%. And I think what you're doing is awesome. I love the fact that you are staying focused and your message is very clear. America first, America first, America first. She makes no qualm about it, and she stays focused, and she keeps the objective in mind. Marjorie Taylor Greene, whether you like her or don't like her, I don't care. She's America first. Period. America first. And I am too. I'm all about it. So, all right. That's all I got, folks. If you got any recommendations about my chickens having sores on their back, and it's one on each side. So if you go down their head and you get right there before their tail jacks up, I got 2 little sores on both sides. And I've done the obvious. I haven't changed their diet. Their water is clean daily. I even gave them a Pedialyte in the last 2 days, which really helped them because their cone shot back up, and it got all the minerals and the electrolytes back in them, and their cone's now bright red and standing back up because I could tell they were stressed and they were lacking in their minerals. So, and you can give your unflavored Pedialyte to your chickens, and it really helps them. Nothing's, I even inspected. I went in all I went into the coop. I looked in all the pen areas. I looked inside all their nesting boxes, and I can't see anything that would, like a sharp screw or a nail or a splinter, that would have caused this. I can't find anything. So if y'all got any ideas, let me know. And but I only paid $5.99 for a chicken. Been feeding it for 4 months, and I'm not taking a chicken to a vet. You can believe that. That ain't happening. So I'll try to take care of it. I'm going to go get that spray at Tractor Supply, and I'll spray that antiseptic stuff on there and see if I can get that to work. So who knows? All right, that's all I got. Sorry I went so long, guys. I know it's already 45 minutes. God bless y'all. Mike Coker, I'm guessing you are back up north now. Maybe it's got warm enough. No, you've been up north. I'm sorry. Maybe you're getting ready. No, they don't get ready till I think September or October, where this campground where he takes his Class A motorhome, they around certain, they're in Wyoming, but it's a certain time of the year, the whole place goes dormant and everybody's got to pack their shit and leave and winterize and leave their stuff behind, but everybody leaves. This is a massive RV campground in the southwest corner of Wyoming. And it's got I think 3 or 4 golf courses on it. Boy, this is beautiful. But when it gets cold, it gets cold. And they tell everybody, this is the date. And the date is, you have your ass out of here because we're locking the gate, and they turn off all the utilities and they turn off all the water. They blow out all the lines so they don't freeze. And then they put antifreeze in those lines, but they clear it all out. And if you ain't going in time, you're sucking buttermilk because the gate's locked. So Mike takes his RV and then heads south for the winter, and he winterizes down somewhere south, I think in New Mexico or somewhere down there, and he goes further south, and he hangs out down there and plays golf, drinks good whiskey, smokes fine cigars, and he goes back up north during the summer. So what a life. All right. So anyway, that's Mike Coker, my great friend from Easley, South Carolina. I think that's where he's from, Easley, South Carolina. God bless y'all, and y'all have a safe day. Anyway, I'll talk about it next week. All right. Thanks, Joe. Great seeing you yesterday, and thanks for bringing Mr. Daniel. I enjoyed y'all's company, and I really appreciate y'all being there. Maybe next time I'll have more people. All right. God bless. Bicycle.